And probably we're already live, but until it tells me that, I'm just going to sit here and talk about nothing.
Exactly.
You know.
I know how it is. It counts down and we don't know.
Okay, here we go. We're live. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Angie Atkinson. And today I'm here with the lovely and talented Lise Colucci. Lise, welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Always my pleasure. So for those of you who don't know, Lise works with me at queenbeing.com. She is one of my fellow coaches there. She does amazing things with groups and one-on-one. So in case anyone's interested. Now, she also has a channel here on YouTube called Lise Colucci. And I will link that when this video goes live later. I'll put it in the screen here. Okay. One more thing, a little housekeeping. Hello, everybody. A little housekeeping. If you are interested in following this live stream every Tuesday, usually I do this one with Dana. Lisa and I are going to start another one on Friday. So if you want to, what am I talking about? Oh, yeah. So if you want to be notified, you should subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification. Go over to Lisa's channel, subscribe there, hit the bell notification. Also, we have a little backup system where you can send a text to 33222. You can text the word AngieLive, all one word, AngieLive, or LiseLive, LiseLive, or both if you want to be notified when we go live separately. All right, let's do this. So hello, everybody. I think we will have our moderators in chat shortly. Hey. Look at all these people coming in. So today we're just going to go straight up with Q&A. So start asking your Q's, y'all. In the meantime, right? Jack says, thank you for filling in to Lise. And Helpful Mom is coming. All righty. So this week on my channel, I have done some shorts that people have been, looks like, pretty interested in. One of the most recent ones, we talked about co-parenting with a narcissist. We talked about silent treatment, the false self. Lise, what are your thoughts on getting the silent treatment?
Ugh, painful.
My head.
Yeah. What are my thoughts on getting it? No, thank you. Although now I just walk away, but now it's like a welcome relief. It's called, I call it the reprise from the narcissist that I do have to deal with.
Yes.
It's the reprise. It's the quiet time. Fortunately, they're at a
for
distance,
sure.
So,
I learned to. For sure. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I definitely learned how to enjoy the thing. I can't talk. The silent treatment. Yeah, but it took a long time, and it was hell.
It does, and when you're in it, it's awful. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think we have a weird delay. I'm sorry if I'm talking over you here.
Until you learn.
Okay.
So Kimmy says, what is the difference between loving and just controlling? So let me just start off with this one. My opinion is, loving isn't about control at all, right? Sometimes there are things that we do because we love someone that might seem like controlling. For example, a few weeks back, my child, 17-year-old, asked me, can I go hang out with this person I met at work? He works at McDonald's. And the person was a 32-year-old adult. And I said, well, what are you guys going to do? Well, we're going to play, magic cards or whatever. And I said, well, who else is going to be there? And he said, nobody. And I said, nope. And that worked out really well because even though it seemed a little controlling compared to my usual parenting style, which is pretty flexible, that man turned out to be someone really bad and was arrested later. So, yes.
Yikes.
So I believe that, right? So that's love, not control. But maybe if I was controlling him, then he probably wouldn't have even asked me because I would have said no automatically. I don't know. Or he would have done it anyway. That's not a good answer to that question. I think the difference between loving and controlling is when you're just controlling someone, you're doing it for your own purposes. When you're loving someone, and if you have to make a decision, then you do so out of love and not out of the need to be in control of someone else's life. Lise, thoughts?
Yes. And I'm trying to think of it from the other perspective. How can you tell if someone is loving you or just controlling you?
Right.
Yeah. It's
tough, but
it's tough. It's in seeing where somebody allows you space, where they give you boundaries and respect your boundaries. If you're talking about love and control within a partner kind of relationship, not a parent-child, which is a little different because obviously we have to have some measure of control. But
Yes.
when you're talking about partnership, then it's in, does the person listen to you? I mean, there's always it's really hard to tell. You're right at times, but there's always um, seeing where someone is actually hearing you, respecting your boundaries, where you're respecting their boundaries, where you're allowed for growth in the relationship, things like that, I think.
Yes. 100%. Yep. Okay. Let's see here. Wait a minute. Oh, to Jack, yes, that was Magic the Game, not poker. Magic the Gathering or whatever, I don't know. Okay. Oh yeah. Jack Gooding says silent treatment. Yeah. Now it's thank goodness. Bess, hey Bess. I'm sorry, Bass, Bass. I think it's Bass. Yeah, Bass Banger, great name. Says parallel parenting, you can't co-parent with a narcissist, and that's 100% true. I've talked about that recently as well. So a lot of times people get frustrated because they can't come to an agreement with the narcissist about different, different basic issues about the children. And most of the time, the narcissist is not really that concerned about the child's well-being so much as they're concerned about the ability to control both the child and the other parent. So what I've seen, I think that when you can get that concept in your head of parallel parenting, where you do what you do at your house, and as long as they're not being physically or significantly emotionally abused, you can let them do what they do at their house, right? Up to a point. What are your thoughts about parallel parenting, Lise?
Oh my gosh. It is probably the hardest thing to deal with from the whole spectrum of narcissistic abuse. Probably the hardest because you can't walk away. Got to stay in it. You got to maintain low contact. You've got to maintain so here's how I approach it. Business-like, but polite, because you don't want to sound business-like on paper because that doesn't look good.
Right.
But so polite, business-like, to the point. They're going to throw word salad at you. They're going to throw projecting at you. Every text or email or however you correspond with them is going to be full of accusation. They're going to use words like the child's best interest against you. So while you're trying to just support your kid and they're going to use the word, well, I'm doing this for my kid's best interest against you and flip the script. There's all kinds of nonsense. So read through it if they send you something, or if you have to talk to them, keep it in writing. Did I just go away? Sorry. Read through it. Okay. My phone rang like in the middle of read through the thing and look for the actual question and answer only that. Keep it to the point, keep it simple, try to answer in one paragraph or less, 2 sentences, and that's it. And like Angie said, it's never going to be, just do your house, let them do their house, and try and keep it as separate as you can.
Yep. So, and it's so important, the business part of it. One thing that I've said to clients and probably here on YouTube a few times is the same thing, but think of them, if you've ever worked in customer service or a job in which you have to give customer service, think about your most nasty customer and talk to them like that, but as nicely as you can, not rudely, of course. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to get fired. You just want them to go away quickly. Yeah.
Exactly. So you don't take a customer, you won't take a customer personally if they are attacking your company that you're working for. You know
exactly.
What I mean? Same thing. Yeah. Good tips. Okay. Tia Barr says, how should I think of my narcissist? I wasn't able to end it with him. He got arrested the day I was planning to hang out with him. He got arrested for beating me at the Volcano National Park last year. Should I think of this as done, like he's now an ex? I put a 2-year restraining order against him previous to him getting arrested. Yes. Think of him as an ex. Please go no contact. That's my personal opinion. Anyone who physically assaults you should not be in your life anymore. I really feel that way. Lise, thoughts?
Yeah, it'll only get worse if you had them back in your life. So absolutely. Think of them as not only an ex, but a distant ex.
Yes,
one you never want to talk to again.
Never again. Unless you have a kid
even
with him
even if the love bombing, even if the trauma bonds are telling you want to resist. Right. Yeah.
This is important, Lisa. I would love if you would just kind of speak on the trauma bond a little bit right here, because Lisa's actually really well versed in this stuff and she has a lot of background here. So tell us about, from your perspective, tell us how a trauma bond works.
Well, there's 2 things. My phone is going to keep ringing Sorry. So one thing is physiologically what's going on in your brain, which I know Angie has a lot of videos on, and I've got some videos on where you've got brain chemistry affecting you here. And go watch one of those videos that explains it, because it's a long story. But so you've got actual brain chemistry binding you to the situation, keeping you trapped in the situation. You've also got cognitive dissonance happening where you have the feelings of love, have the feelings of relationship, the feelings of affection. Because I mean, anyone listening would say he beat her or she beat her, whatever. The person beat her. Why would she care about them? We all know from experience why you would care, because these trauma bonds holds us there. It makes us believe in the love that we feel, even though we know better. And so no contact, stop thinking about them, stop reading about them, stop wondering about them. Don't go no contact with their family if you have to. Sever friendships if you have to, whatever you have to do to separate. That's what helps your brain do its thing, so that the brain chemistry changes back to the non-trauma bonded state. That's the short version.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Yep. And so for Tia, if she is feeling that trauma bond, besides the obvious, pattern interrupts to stop in the moment, things like that. Any thoughts on tips to help her kind of break free a little bit?
How long ago did she say? Did she say in there?
Well, she said she put a restraining order on 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So it's been a while
she said before he got arrested, she put a restraining order for a 2-year restraining order. Okay.
So depending how long it's been, but if it's a short amount of time, like under 6 months or under, then you're really, it's about acceptance of who the narcissist is, what they are, how they act, and the fact that they don't have empathy and they would do something to harm you.
Yes.
And fully accepting it. Not that you understand it, how could they? So whenever people say, how could they, how could this happen? How could they be that way? I said, let go of the how could, because you're not going to understand it, because you're a person with empathy. Right. You can't understand it from empathy. So instead think they did.
Yeah.
They did. They did and they do. And that's acceptance. Acceptance helps you get to the point where you can grieve. And once you can grieve, then you can start to let go. And I think what happens is we get so afraid of the grief, and we don't want to be in that discomfort, and we don't want to hurt. And I mean, I don't want you to hurt either, but it's kind of part of the process. It hurts. Yeah, it's awful. And then once you go through the grief and the acceptance at the same time, I think that's, with the discovery, understanding, it's the same concept. Yeah.
And that's actually a really important point that you brought up about grief, because we do go through all those stages as we go. And I think, and the going through the pain part is also important, because I personally, that's where I really effed up my own recovery.
I don't want
to say that. Because at the beginning, I had learned about the law of attraction, and I thought, this is it. I got it figured out now. And I don't need to feel those things. I could just push them away. Nope. Because if you do that, what happens is they fester and they grow and they get nasty and yucky. And if you don't let them flow, stuff goes wrong. And so I had to go through that eventually. I did not like it, but I did. Thank goodness, and then you feel so much lighter, right?
Yeah. And get support too, right?
Yes. And this is why we do this. This is why we have our support groups over there on Facebook, off Facebook, etc. Lise has an amazing, did I mention amazing group coaching? I've heard so many amazing things from her people that go through her group coaching. And I just really, it's significantly less expensive than one-on-one. And I think in some ways, maybe even, I don't want to say more powerful, but maybe, in some ways.
It's a different kind of power from where I sit and watch people. It's a different kind of experience. Plus you have your private chat groups throughout the week people can pop into if they need help right away. I mean, it's really good stuff. Okay. Support is important. All right, moving on. This is from Melissa Gregory. Hello, Melissa. She says, and thank you for being a member, by the way. She says, co-parenting with an ex-narcissist. How do I support my 8-year-old when he returns? How do I deal with my ex manipulating my son? All right, let's talk about it really quick. My thoughts. Melissa, I think you have to, first of all, validate his feelings. If he comes home and he says, Dad's a big jerk, or mom, or whoever the ex is, okay,
how do I deal with them? Okay. So then you say, I hear you, I feel you. You're right. You're allowed to feel that. You maybe don't say you're right. Say you're allowed to feel the way you feel. Your feelings matter, etc. Validate the feelings. That's number one. Number two, be available to him to hear about whatever's happening. And to, again, if he is manipulating him, say it wasn't okay for dad to do that. That's manipulation. Explain what that is, or in his, depending on his level of understanding. And then the other thing I would say is to, when dad is good and dad takes him out, does something awesome, and kid comes home excited, don't be offended. Just, oh, that's great, honey. I'm so glad things are going well. Give him a little bit of, but with that being said, I know that Lise has some different insight on this, or additional insight on this, and I won't go into anyone's stories, but talk to me, girl. What are you going to say to
Melissa? Okay. So I would say number one, create a transition for the time they come back. That I think that children in particular, we all need it. Children do really well with it often. So whatever that is, whatever it is, it depends on what you see happening.
Tell us what the transition looks like really quick, or what.
A transition for, like, say a kid comes home and they are sassy and rude and, acting out, so to speak. You might take a walk around the block. Like the second they get home, put your stuff around. We got to walk the dog. It's time to get reacquainted with the puppy, whatever, and walk the dog. Or a movie night the night they get home, or one activity, simple, that allows for the transition back into the different environment that they're in. Because you got to remember, they're going from one experience to another, and they're all full of information. They're being groomed. They're being fed information. They're being manipulated. Hopefully you're not being alienated, but that can happen too. So you just keep the transition, keep routine in your house, be you, even though you're co-parenting. So being you as much as you can and not worrying about the other parent as much as you can helps the children know who you are and trust you.
Yep.
And trust the situation. So that way, when they do need to come to someone, they've got you. And they aren't afraid.
So important. Keep talking. I'm listening.
Yeah. So, well, there's a lot, right? It just really depends on how, if the child, like you said, they can either come home, mom's a big jerk, dad's a big jerk, or, oh my gosh, it's so much better over there.
And what do you say when they say that? How do you respond to that?
I say, usually something like, oh, okay. And I just don't say anything. Or if they say, well, they let me do it and you don't know, that's typical of any divorce situation. But then when there's a narcissist, that child's being fed that in order to manipulate your household, because they try to control you through your kid.
Right.
By controlling, it's so complicated, right? So step out of it as much as you can and just be in your house. Be kind, be yourself. Yeah.
Yep. So if your kid says, they let me do this or they let me do that, do you just say, well, that's the rules at their house and here's the rules at my house or our house?
Yeah, I say everywhere you go, like what I would say is, yeah, okay, that's how it is there and this is how it is here. And when you go to school, those are the rules. And when you go to the grocery store, those are the rules. And when you go to a restaurant, those are the rules.
Yep.
That everywhere, every place you are has its own culture.
Good.
And this is our culture. Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Okay. Very good. Let's see here. Let us know if you have additional questions, Melissa. Jack Gooding says, loving doesn't feel like you're having your agency taken from you, your free will. That is in response to the question about loving versus control. Really good answer, Jack. Let's see. Hey, Peggy. Peggy says, holy heck, did everyone go through the tough times during the heat? Tough times during the heat.
Oh,
yeah. Tempers were short. I lost it. Wait a minute. Oh, there it goes. Darn it.
116 yesterday.
I cannot. I don't tolerate it well.
Don't either.
My people are from like Russia and stuff. we can't do it. Okay. All right, let's see here. At least half of them, Right. I totally lost my place in chat, but I'm back now. I got it. Okay. So Melissa, Jack. Okay. Peggy says tempers were short. What a tough time. Oh yes, girl. Okay. And Base says love is transactional to the narcissist. I just talked about this the other day with somebody. And that's really the truth. It's not just men or women. It's both and everybody in between. Because what happens is, it's transactional. If you do this, then I'll love you. And that here's the worst part of that. I just wrote about this in my journal recently. Growing up, we're taught this. We're taught that we must serve to get love, right? We must do for someone else. And that we don't necessarily deserve love. And this comes from toxic parents, not healthy ones, but that we don't just necessarily deserve love because we are existing. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel that love is transactional thing. But as you get older and you realize what's really happening and what's really happened, then you recognize. And I mean, certainly in any relationship, there's give and take, right? But it should not be transactional. You should.
Oops. I just, yeah. Well, yeah. And you know, that you shouldn't hear things like you can have affection once you earn it.
Right. That's
yeah.
Tell me. Keep talking.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
You'll get the good when you give the good. Yeah. You'll see my good side if you behave.
Yeah. That's what I heard that in previous relationships. Yeah. Things just like that. It's ridiculous. Yep. Let's see here. Okay. Elizabeth, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Hello. Says, and when a guy invites you to a holiday or vacation, as we Americans say it, and you ask who else will be there, and turns out there will only be guys. Oh, that's a good question. You know, so that depends on the situation. Like I have been in situations where I was, you know, with my husband, and we went to these little, you know, they used to do this like yearly weekend trip to this lake. And there were a couple of situations where I was the only woman there, but I knew all those people and I was friends with all those people, and that was okay. It wasn't weird somehow because I was the wife of one of them or whatever. But then there were situations for other years where women did come, other women besides myself, but it was a guy's trip and they brought their women if they had them, basically. So it was fine. There were years I didn't go because I had babies or whatever, you know, so but then there are situations where that could be like literally dangerous for you. So I think it just depends on the situation. Any thoughts on that? What if you get invited?
That's pretty much, that's
yeah. Okay. Base. Yes, thank you, Base. Okay. Yeah, Bonnie's right. Respect is not usually given by narcissists. Monique says, thank you for sharing this video. My pleasure, Monique. Peggy says, although I understand and agree, I also cringe when I hear that repeated so often. Wait a minute, what did Bonnie say? Something Bonnie said. Respect is not usually given. Okay. Peggy agrees with that, but she says, I also cringe when I hear that repeated so often. You're called cruel and a narcissist if you go to flee or, you know, go into hiding mode because you can't cope. So I think the point of that is that what I think Peggy's trying to say is that no contact can sometimes look like the silent treatment. Right. And I see that. But here's the difference. The silent treatment is a punishment. It is done to you because you have said or not said or done or not done something that displeased, you know, the holy narcissist. They're not holy. I'm just joking about that. But the narcissist has become offended or injured by something you said or didn't say or whatever, did or didn't do. The difference between that, of course, and no contact is that no contact is not about the narcissist. It's not. It's about yourself and getting yourself free and safe and healthy and et cetera. Right. So sometimes you have to just take a look at it, and you have to look at the people who are trying to tell you that you're a narcissist and you're cruel because you've gone no contact or low contact, and you have to go, sorry, I just have to take care of my mental health. And you don't have to tell them that. You don't have to tell them anything. Like if these people are attacking you for that stuff, then maybe those are people you need to rethink letting have access to you.
Definitely. Yeah.
I don't know if that's helpful. All right. Tia says, now Tia's the same one that we were talking about with she just asked the same question again. She wanted to make sure we didn't miss it. Okay. All right. Lisa's YouTube is Lise Colucci. What does it say? Narcissistic.
Oh my gosh. It's we'll put it in the comments below. A narcissistic abuse. Oh my gosh, it's got a really long name.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's my fault.
It's okay.
It's all my fault. It is. Okay. We changed it a few times is the thing.
Yeah. If you search my name,
you'll find it.
If you just like Google Lise Colucci trauma bond and make sure you spell it with an E, Lise, you will get a video hit and click the link and you'll find it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure if you search her on YouTube, you'll find it here too.
Yeah.
As well. Just your name even.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Lise, why does okay, Bonnie wants to know from us, why does the narcissist turn your own kids against you? Power and control. My opinion is yes, power and control. Period, pretty much. Lise, thoughts?
So let's
you.
Narcissistic parent. Narcissists they're delusional, right? So they need the world to respond to their delusion and prove their delusion is correct. That's why they devalue us, because we question something like a normal person does in a relationship. That's one reason. And they attack because it doesn't match the delusion that they need everyone to believe they are, right? So children are extensions of themselves. They are not individuals in a narcissist's eyes. So that child is there as a piece of themselves out in the world, I think. And they cannot allow that child to have control of their own life. So they're not only using the child against you, they're manipulating the child. And they are not allowing that child to be an individual, because no one can be an individual around a narcissist. So they need, it's power and control. And it's also a way to reflect back to themselves the delusion that they have of themselves because of the child thinking they're amazing, they're the best, they're the only parent, however they're manipulating it. And they turn them against you, number one, to hurt you. Number two, to manipulate the child, to have someone on their side. They like minions.
Yes, they do.
Yep. They like minions, and they like flying monkeys, and they like a harem. And so a child is like a little mini me to them, and a minion. And I mean, don't think it needs much more explaining than that. But
that's all true.
Yeah.
Real quick, I was trying to find a comment from Jennifer or Jenny. I couldn't find it. And then I lost my place in the chat. So now I'm down to the bottom and I can't get back up. So apologies if I missed your question. I am now to the point where Jack Gooding talks about, where Jack Goodings is talking about, it really sounds like you both got a lot of challenges. So I apologize if your question is above that. Please repost it in the chat. I'm so sorry. Okay, moving right along. Yes. I hear Adrian's going through a smear campaign. Oh, here. Jack says, what can I do about this? Oh, no, Adrian says, it's crazy because my narcissist mother has been doing this mess my whole life, been treating me like I need help, etc. Everybody believes her. Okay, Adrian. So Adrian is struggling with her mother, it sounds like, doing a smear campaign. So Adrian, this is difficult. And this is one of those reasons that I went no contact with my own narcissistic mother, honey, because this is what they do. I don't think that you can even stop them. I mean, you could, but it would be really hard and difficult and way more stressful than you'd want to, because you'd have to alienate a lot of people. What I would suggest in this case, if you can't go no contact, then you go emotionally no contact. You go low contact. You don't allow her access to your emotions. You don't give her your time unless you absolutely are required to for some reason. I would not do phone calls with her. I would communicate only by, just like I would with a narcissistic co-parent. Personally, I would go no contact. I have got no contact. But I understand it's not that easy for everybody. And it wasn't very easy for me, but you do what you have to do, you know. Treating you like you need help, etc. This is the same thing I went through this. She told everybody I was crazy. She literally sent some prayer requests out in her little newsletter from her church talking about prayers for my name and something about like mental health and family problems or something. Yeah, girl. So anyway, my suggestion here is no contact or low contact. Don't react to it. If people talk to her if people come to you and they go, did you really do this? If you think those people deserve your time and attention and deserve any sort of explanation, then by all means, you can say, you know what, this is what really happened, and that's it. And if they go, I don't think so, or you're lying or whatever, go, okay, if you know me, you know better. If you don't know me, okay. And then you step away from that person emotionally. You don't tell them you're doing it. You just back up emotionally until whatever she's got in their head kind of goes over. And then you decide if that person gets to come back into your little inner circle or not, right? Yeah, Lise, thoughts?
Yeah, and on that, we have to stop caring so much what other people think.
Yeah,
because and the smear is awful because they're infecting innocent people.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
some of those innocent people truly are innocent people. And some of them are people that probably don't need to be in your life anyway.
Yeah.
So it does kind of weed that out. But unfortunately, it's really painful. It's really hard. I would say if you're low contact, don't engage. Stop engaging. So what did she say? She says this to me. She said something about it and made me think, I wonder if she engages in it. I wonder if she engages back. I wonder if she responds back.
Yeah.
Don't respond back. If your mom says, well, I'm worried about your mental health, you can say that's a concern people have for
Ooh,
other
I like
people.
that. I like
you know
it.
what I mean?
Yes.
Just put it, generalize it, and then just be like, so mom, what's up? What's going on in your world?
Yep. Very good.
Turn the conversation. If you have to talk to them, turn the conversation back to them, let them talk about themselves, and then
Always
say
works.
something crazy like, oh man, I have to go to the bathroom. Bye. I got to go.
Yep.
You know, just,
oh my gosh, there's an explosion in my front yard. Bye.
yeah, something's happening. Got to go.
Okay.
Bye. Got to go cook dinner. Bye. You know,
Yeah.
Make it short if you have to talk to them. If don't engage in they're going to keep attacking. They're going to keep trying to control you for the rest of your life.
100%.
So don't engage in it at all. And that feels like you're silencing yourself, but what you're actually doing is empowering yourself.
Yes, giving yourself peace a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And also, let me just point this out to you. You might feel like that when we're telling you about this. You might think exactly what Lise said. You know, am I not just backing down and being a little business at that point? No. And let me tell you why. Because when you do this, when you pull this off and you say something amazing, like Lise just said about what was that like? Yeah, that's a concern people have sometimes. I love that so much. When you say something like that, watch what they do. Okay, because this is why I find this such and I'm not saying that this is why you're doing it, but a little side benefit of doing the gray rock type technique or whatever is to watch their face, because they go like this. They don't even know. They're like, wait, what?
I don't know what. Yeah.
It's you'll see the power in it when you do it. Trust me. With that being said, let me say this. If the person is physically abusing you, this does not work. You have to walk away. You have to get the hell out right now. Pardon my language.
You do. Yeah.
Because then this could cause them to go further, right? But if it's a situation like this with your mother or even your person, as long as they are not physically abusing you, otherwise I suggest just get out as fast as possible. Okay, let me throw that out there. Okay, moving on. Let's talk to Paul. Paul says, what about children himself? He's indicating here of narcissists. Do I need to reparent myself? Okay, personally, I did, and it was a painful but also incredibly, incredibly powerful thing. I did it. I still parent myself at times, and it's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. I'm a much better mom. Yeah, I would suggest that you try something, at least doing some exercises on your own. A really simple one you can do is like, remember your bedroom when you were a kid and imagine yourself sitting on the bed and pick a certain age, because sometimes we have different bedrooms at different times. I like the age of 10 sometimes as a generic age, for example. So go back and think about, sitting on your bed in your bedroom at age 10. And then you kind of imagine yourself walking in the room, sit down next to yourself, your adult self sitting down next to your child self. Some people find it really effective to have a picture of themselves if they have one to do this with. I like, personally, I think close your eyes and rest and visualize, right? And then, find out what that kid needs and say all the things to that kid. I'm going to take care of you, man. I got your back. I'm sorry your parents are assholes, or whatever it was. So Lise, thoughts about reparenting?
That was the exact exercise I was thinking of when you said it. It's a good one. Yeah, it's good, and it's useful for so many different types of people.
Yeah.
And so another thing would be discover the things that you enjoyed as a kid and do some of them, or the things you weren't allowed to do. Like, I've talked to one person and I've told her over and over and over, I want you to wear white boots and I want you to splash in the mud.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
You know what I mean? Like, have fun with the things that were restricted and be okay. And so, yes, I think that reparenting is a form of self-acceptance. And that it's essential. It clicks the pieces back into place that should have been clicked into place. And also creating an archetype of what a parent should be by listening to the inner guidance that you do have that tells you good things. Yeah. Not the one that's the one who's criticizing you, judging you, telling you you're not enough, telling you you're piece of whatever. That is all programming.
Yes.
And that's not your inner guide. Your inner guide is the one that's saying, you got this. Oh, I see the path. I see the way. The one that inspires you. That's your inner guide. So listen to that one more and find a way to create parenting through that.
Truly, that's truly important. And I love the white boots thing. Actually, you may or may not notice, my nails are usually painted a crazy blue color. Today they're silver. But I paint my nails weird colors. And I do that because, even though I'm 46 years old, because growing up, I was told, like, I can't believe my daughter paints her nails, because my mother was more of a tomboy, I guess. And so I was the opposite of my mother, and that was weird and bad for her. So now I paint my nails all the crazy colors. It's just a little way I let my inner child come out, right? Anyway, okay, moving on. I don't know. I'm just talking. I love the white boots thing. I love it. That was really cool. Okay, Peggy says, the brain chemistry and chemicals released is really an addiction. Then all the other parts thrown in along. Right. Absolutely. Takes a while to rid yourself of the bond. Be kind to yourself. 100% Peggy. Let's see here. Kimberly, wait a minute. Oh, okay. So Jack and Hufflepuff are having issues with their mom. Okay. Okay. Base says, my malignant black holes where my parents should have been. Okay. Made sure to switch up with, so his parents made sure to switch up with the triangulation. 1 week he's made of gold, the next week I'm all the blame for it. Okay, that's a very common tactic. And I'm wondering, did you have any siblings? Because what I see a lot is siblings being thrown in and out of the scapegoat and golden child role, right? Rotated almost. Yeah. Yeah, and that doesn't help. It doesn't help your development. It makes it worse, whether you're the golden child or not. And then there are a lot of people who will say, well, the golden child in my family is a narcissist, because sometimes the golden child remains the golden child. But what a lot of people don't realize is that not every golden child turns into a narcissist. A lot of them actually are more like us. They, because when you are like sort of empathic, and then you're also the golden child, well, then you look at your sibling and you go, oh my gosh, this is terrible, right? My sibling is treated, and then you have your own issues because of that. And then, of course, there's the pressure that's put on the golden child, right? Of being perfect. But let's talk about triangulation. Lise, what are your thoughts on triangulation?
Triangulation. Well, I want to say first, I just literally did a video a couple weeks ago about that. The golden child being
that's right,
not a narcissist. Yeah. The being like the experience of the golden child who does not turn out to be a narcissist. So there's a lot of people. Yeah. And especially only children, that happens to a lot because they're both, but they tend to be put on the pedestal more. So triangulation with parents. Oh my gosh. Triangulation. That's how, so narcissists in a family structure, it's a narcissistic system. We have to remember a narcissist is not just a narcissist to their partner or to their kid. They are a narcissist across the board.
Yeah.
So literally every interaction that they have is based on the way they function, which is no empathy, no accountability, no remorse, right? So they use triangulation. Gosh, I mean, what do you want to say about it? I don't even know where to start with it.
So let me throw this out here. So triangulation in general, what I've seen is like you'll have, let's just use the golden child and the scapegoat child as.
Here we go. I need examples.
Right. So you have your parent, and sometimes it might be you and another parent that they're triangulating as well, right? Or the kid down the street, the surrogate child or whatever. So if you have the parent and you have the two children, then what might happen is maybe, the mom says to the golden child, I don't know, did you do your homework yet? And the golden child goes, yeah, well, the scapegoat child was going to help me, but they're finishing up their chores. Well, now the mother might scream at the scapegoat child and, you're so slow and stupid that you didn't do your chores. And now you're costing this golden child all this amazing, whatever. I don't know. That's just a lame example, but Lise, how would you deal with, what are your thoughts about that?
The thoughts, well, I mean,
or switch it up if you want.
I'm thinking of an example of triangulation where they might say, I'm trying to figure out how to say this without being too personal. Now that I've said that, so they might take a child and fish information out of the child. So they use them as a flying monkey, and then feed information back into that child, which triangulates them into your relationship with them. And then that child says something to you. Does that make sense? So then there's the 3 points of the triangulation. And what they're trying to do is manipulate the situation over here, which is you, using this third person,
right?
Which is the child, and it's an innocent, and it could be a not. I mean, people do it on purpose. They could be two narcissistic parents. Oh heck yeah!
Oh yeah.
They'll just yeah.
100%. Same thing with if let's say the co-parenting. You know, if the narcissist might, like Lise said, feed some information to the child, and then they're actually trying to manipulate you, or vice versa. You know what I mean? It's ugly
it's messy.
Stuff.
Triangulation is messy, and that's how you know you're in it. It feels messy. Like, why are there so many cooks in the kitchen? Is what you start feeling. Like, what is going on? And,
right. And or sometimes it'll be you tell one person one thing, you tell the other person another thing, two conflicting things.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just this whole mess. To deal with it, my best advice would be if you can communicate in writing and copy everybody, that'd be great. If not, keep notes and just document as much as possible. It's very difficult to deal with that.
Disengage when you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Adrian says, I don't know if I have CPTSD, but my mind sometimes won't let me think of the past and brain fog, but I know what's going on and everything and what I went through, but I always stay. Okay. So sounds like CPTSD, sounds like trauma bond. The brain fog is like abuse amnesia you've got going on there. Brain fog is a very big symptom, sign of CPTSD. And also, so I would say you probably do have, not diagnosing, not a doctor, but it sounds like symptoms of CPTSD. Always staying sounds like trauma bond. And sometimes I found that I struggled to leave my ex because of fears about money, fears of being alone, fear of the future. It's hard and scary. It is. Knowing what you've gone through and knowing that you're not leaving, it might feel like not that big of a deal to you, but you go numb, don't you? And so I think I went numb. Sometimes if I feel super stressed, I go numb again. It's like an old thing that creeps up on me. So, any thoughts on CPTSD, Lise, and what, I mean, not leaving?
Well, I think like with the not leaving, the unfortunate thing about leaving is it has to get more uncomfortable.
Yes.
Than the abuse. So in other words, you have to let yourself feel what's going on. And when you're in the brain fog, you can't. And so that does keep you there. So override it with logic, override it with patterns, look for patterns. This pattern has been going on for 15 years. Same pattern. Groundhog's Day, I'm running in circles. I'm on a hamster wheel, whatever visualization works for you. And you have to want something better for yourself. And you have to know that you're probably going to go through something dark to get there. And it's not, so fear, not living in the fear, and getting the support you can where you can, and looking toward a future. It's like goal setting when you're just buried under. Feels impossible, but it's not impossible. It's the way out.
It is. It's tough. Adrian, I don't know if you've already done it, but if you go over to queenbeing.com/plan, PLAN, you can download a little checklist, a planning thing. And if you were thinking about leaving, and there's also a group of videos there that you can watch. All of it's free. And it will help you to maybe get some motivation, and maybe, so I personally started to feel more empowered the minute I started planning my escape. So that's something to think about. Sometimes just even if it takes you 5 years, start planning, start imagining, start dreaming, start looking at like apartments or houses that you can afford or that you might be able to afford online. And like, just imagine, well, I could put my this painting on that wall. And it sometimes visualizing can be a powerful motivator too. So, okay. Sorry if I repeated anything you said, Lise. I got a little.
No, it's good. Visualizing and taking action can actually push you forward. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, here. So Elizabeth says, which I think is Elizabeth. It says, I started to go to an art group, and yesterday I felt good, and I thought something was wrong because I usually don't feel good. I usually feel suicidal and depressed. And that's a good sign that you are doing and starting to feel human again. The suicidal and depressed part is terrible and painful, but I think many of us I can relate to it. But when it becomes your daily, when it becomes your usual, you have serious things to think about. And I'm so glad to see that you're doing something different, going and taking an art group, art class, whatever, can make a powerful, it doesn't have to be an art class, right? It could also be like a motorcycle class. I know somebody who actually took a motorcycle riding class. One time I bought flying lessons for my friend. They were through Groupon. They got to fly a little plane. I mean, it's really fun. Little silly things or things you love, or even just walking your dog, or like just getting out of the house a little bit, going and sitting on your porch if that's all you can muster. You know what I mean? Baby steps, but do something different. I love meetup.com. And now that here, my internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It was starting to kind of get choppy, but
yeah, but I'm back now. Okay.
You're back now.
Meetup.com. We've talked about that a lot. Okay, thank you. Dana mentions it often. Meetup.com. It's a great place now that the whole COVID thing is in some places a little better. Places are starting to open up. Some of the meetup groups are meeting in person again, but a lot of them are still doing it on Zoom. But meeting new people can be a simple way. Taking an art class, whatever, flying class, whatever. Do something different. It helps. Any thoughts on kind of getting back to normal, or revitalizing yourself, or at least anything like that?
Yeah, it's another one of those things where you have to do it sometimes before you want to do it.
Yes.
If you wait for the feeling of desire to go do this thing, you're probably going to be waiting a lot longer than you ought to, maybe, because once you start doing the things that Angie is describing here, and she gave some great examples. I mean, it could be anything, really. Once you start doing this, it actually, again, changes your brain chemistry to where it makes you want to do more. So it actually creates more of a dopamine response, which gets you to start reaching out in your life and waking up the happiness in your life. And minimally, you're not bored, right? Minimally, You're not sitting in one place, stewing and brewing about something awful that happened, which is not going to fix what happened, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. 100%. Yep. Okay, so we have Kimberly, and Kimberly said, Kimberly's going through some parental alienation stuff. Says, I haven't seen my daughter in 9 months. He moved to New Jersey, so I can't see her. This after the divorce for sure. He turned her against me. So Kimberly, this is really painful and difficult. This is what I would suggest to you. And I don't know how old your daughter is, but I assume that she's under 18 since she's living with him. In which case, if you wanted to, you could legally enforce your right to see her. With that being said, I also know that legally and personally are two very different things. And I know that if my child did not want to see me, they would not see me. Or because within reason. My kids are powerful sometimes. Teenagers are bigger than me. I don't know. Anyway, but with that being said, if she is an adult, my advice would be, and even if she's a young adult, like she's a 16, 17, 18, which I technically still think is a child, but they act more, sometimes like young adults. What I would suggest is, not pushing too hard. I would suggest sending, especially if she is an adult, I would suggest sending a card on a birthday and one other day of the year, maybe Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever it is that you guys celebrate, the biggest holiday you would celebrate. And I would say in the card, I love you and I'm here for you. Let me know if you need anything, period. Yep. That's it. And then I would that's it. And only for my child, not for anyone else in the world would I do that. Anyone else in the world, I'm really good at, you're dead to me. But my children are different. I'm really watch.
Oh no!
I don't mean that in any disrespectful way to you, because you know how much I love you. I just mean people who come into my, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're dead to me. That's what I tell people. I don't even tell them. I just do it.
You just do it. Well, yeah, you have to. It's
It's the only way sometimes.
And it's too much of a waste of a time to be chasing things that aren't healthy.
Yeah. And so when and they're not literally dead to me, but they are, though, because when someone's dead, you don't you might think about them, how they used to be or what times were or whatever, but eventually you get over them and you don't dwell every single day, and even if there's someone you really, really love, you might have fond memories here and there, but you don't live your life around the memory.
Right.
Live your life. And so the reason that anyway, do you have any thoughts for Kimberly, Lise, about parental alienation and how she can, any additional things to what I suggested?
I would get some focus on your own life, knowing that, in other words, make sure you're not spending all of your time worrying about this thing that is so awful and terrible going on in your life. Because yes, it's awful and it's terrible and it hurts, and it's probably one of the worst things a parent can have to go through. If you're not don't also have a life for yourself and doing the things that Angie suggested to the last person, which is like getting out there. And if you're not balancing, then it's going to be very depressing and very hard. It's already depressing and hard. So, and then also, I like what you said about the card being brief and short. Avoid things like letting your feelings get into the equation. While it is a good conversation to have once things mend back up about how you felt about it, the timing has to be done right, or you're going to chase the person away if they are the ones choosing not to speak to you.
Yeah. It's really easy to want to guilt trip somebody.
Or just to say, like, just to want to be heard, like, I love you and this really hurt me. Even something that simple can put someone else into it. Don't give me a guilt trip and run away kind of thing. Right. Especially if they've been fed information that says you're crazy or you're this or you're that. So
that's right. Because that's exactly what they do. They that's part of how they alienate them. So they point out things that may have actually happened and they twist them and they exaggerate them. And then, you're absolutely right. Very good points. Yes. Any other thoughts for Kimberly before we?
That's all I got on this one, I think.
Okay. All right. Adrienne says she doesn't talk to anyone, and I mean nobody. They don't have it. She doesn't have any friends, but the ones in the hometown, and that's it. Well, you know what? Let me say this to you. I have a very small circle that's in my very small inner circle, but I have come to the conclusion that quality is always better than quantity when it comes to inner circle, right? That doesn't mean that I don't have more friends outside of that circle, but inner circle to me is people that I feel like I can genuinely trust. That's a small circle, right? But it sounds like you need more people in your life, Adrienne, because it sounds like you're isolating, which if you don't feel like getting out of the house and you feel comfortable with where you are, give yourself a little time if you need to. But like Lise said earlier, sometimes we've got to take that first step before we feel like we're ready. And if you're feeling the pull, even if you're feeling unhappy being alone, then it's time, right? To like join a meetup group or go find a coffee house that you like and sit there once a week while you work or whatever. You know what I mean? Any thoughts to add to
that? To start counting the things that are really simple in life as interactions. In other words, say you're going to the grocery store. Everyone's got to go grocery shopping. Yes, you can do it online and you can have it delivered and all that. But if you can get yourself out to the grocery store and say you've got to buy something from the produce person, ask a question of the produce person, say, hey, where are the bananas or whatever, right? Or, wow, these bananas are all green. Do you know when you're getting in yellow ones? But say something nice, say polite, smile at them, even if you're wearing a mask with your eyes, like here, Yeah. So interact in a way that lets you have a moment of connection with someone and give a moment of connection to someone. Simple, not personal. Because sometimes going straight back into the personal, like people get terrified of meetups because that means they got to actually talk to people.
Yes.
And they got to interact and they don't know how, they don't want to make friends. They don't trust friends and all. It can be amazing or it can be terrifying or somewhere in between. But so if you, say thank you, be polite, be happy in those quick exchanges and notice it. If we don't notice that we're doing that and we don't notice, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. I waved at the mailman today and he smiled or she smiled, mail woman, whatever and it's a moments of connection with other human beings that help you see that you don't have to have these tight, trusting inner circle things going on in order to have connection with others. And maybe that's all you need right now. For some people that's enough when they're in that, leave me alone,
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. And you know what I have noticed, because I'm a little bit of a, I'm kind of 50-50. I have a little bit of an extrovert in me. According to my, whatever that thing is, what's the test called? MBTI test. I am ENFPA. However, the E and the I, the introvert and the extrovert, it's like 51-49.
That's me too.
Okay. But you're the other way, right? You're like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's basically the same thing. It depends on what day it is. So sometimes I'm a total introvert and I don't want to talk to anybody, and I literally could put my head in the sand if I wanted to. But I noticed that if I do that for too long, I start to feel like, I don't know, stuck. And so it could be just as simple as you said, going out to the grocery store. Where I'm currently at, we have this little main street that's really cute. And so I'll go to the little main street area and go out to dinner with my kids, or go to the coffee shop and pick up something, or, just get out of the house and talk to someone that isn't my kids. And it makes a huge difference. And I always feel energized after just that. Even the grocery store, yeah, good
anything.
stuff.
Another thing is you could try a class, such as a dance class or an exercise class, or just using those as examples because they're interactive with a person. So in other words, call and response kind of things. Teacher does this and you do this, right? Yeah. That kind of connection is impersonal, but it gives you human connection, and it can feed something in you that feels less vulnerable, but also gives you that human connection. You go home, you're like, oh, that was enough.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, those sip and paint classes, even you don't have to sip, but those where you get together. Yeah. There's a lady in this town that's doing that, and I'm about to go learn how to paint what's it called? The Starry Night painting, which I have like 3 different versions of in my house already, but that's okay. It's going to be fun. Yeah. I love that stuff. Okay. Dell says that phrase hit me like a truck, and I don't know which phrase that was, but yes. Okay. What are we doing on time? Okay. We're just about done with time. Okay. Okay. Thanks for sharing the stuff about the groups and everything. Oh, hey, look, it's Refiner. Hey, Refiner. I've seen Refiner over in the, one of the groups, Discord, on Discord. Yeah. And recently on my Spanily, right? Okay. Hello, it's good to see you here in this chat. Please help me convince myself that expensive gifts are going to, oh, okay. So this is going to be maybe our last one for today, because we're kind of out of time, and I'm sorry for keeping you so long, Lise.
Good.
Thank you. This person's name is Thank You, I think, and says, please help me convince myself that his expensive gifts are going to backfire on me. It's hard to leave him. He's all I have. Okay. So I don't know the whole story here. Expensive gifts are great, but they're not necessarily affection, and they're not connection. I'm not anti-expensive gifts, but I am anti-expensive gifts, or any gifts in to replace a real genuine connection. However, if he's not a narcissist, then expensive gifts could be his love language or whatever, where you, like some people, it's acts of service, gifts, whatever. But I don't know your whole story, so please tell me more. Assuming that he's giving you the gifts to shut you up, or because he's cheated on you or done something to hurt you, then there's obviously just literally, for me, that would just be not even, I wouldn't even hit my radar as far as personally, on a personal level. I don't care about gifts myself, but Lise, what are your thoughts? I'm a little scattery right now.
Expensive gifts. Let's assume here that we're talking about somebody toxic giving. So. We'll just assume that's what's going on, because otherwise they wouldn't be here, right?
Right.
And okay, so it's nothing more than love bombing. That's all it is. That's so expensive gifts, letting go and giving up the gifts is no different than letting go and giving up the good times. People always get hooked on the good times. They wish they could bring back the good times. They wish they could incite more gift giving. They wish they could incite more loving behavior. And that is not, when you start chasing something like that, that is a sign that there is something really wrong. Because while every relationship has ebbs and flows of giving and not giving, it's when somebody sets it up like that as bait and then rips it out from under you.
Yeah.
And so that's all that's going on when they're giving gifts, is they're setting it up as bait.
Yeah. And
it's
sometimes it's to a Hoover, right? To get to suck you
or
back in
Hoover,
after.
yeah.
Yeah. So give it, if you wanted to, oh wait, here's another, same one. Okay. So to thank you, that's a great name. If you have additional details and you want to share them with us here in the chat or after we're finished here in the notes, or send it to one of us by email, we can always give you additional information. Okay, Lise, we are about to wrap up. Before we do you have any questions or anything for the group here before we wrap up for today?
About you're scattered.
I'm scattered. Okay, let me bring it back. let me rein it in. Okay.
Let's just give me something. You want to end? We are closing.
I apologize for my scattery ADHD-ness.
It
is
good.
real.
You're all good.
Let me just say this. Let me rein it in a little bit real quick.
Yeah.
Refiner says, I love that you paint your nails. It's something you do for yourself. I started using wraps. Yes. Okay. So that is, and Peggy agrees, enjoy your rainbows of color. Thank you. Sometimes I'll do one of the nails a different color. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
It's okay. My toes are silver too.
See? Okay. We match. We almost both had the same like stripes.
We almost had black and white stripes too. Yeah.
And we're like, and totally. Okay. Anyway. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here with me, because as all of these people here might be able to tell you, when I stream alone, I'm a little more scattery. So Lise, again, everyone, is one of my fellow coaches at queenbeing.com. She is amazing. She also is frequently in the span groups on Facebook. She has her own channel here on YouTube, Lise Colucci. Just search it. Type in that, you'll find it. And also, I think Pavel Mom's going to put it in the chat for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will also put it when this video goes live later. I'll stick it up on the screen. So make sure you subscribe to that channel and to this channel. Hit the bell notification to be notified when we go live. Also, type Angie as text AngieLive, all one word, AngieLive, and also on a separate text, Lise Live, LISE to 33222. And we will send you notifications before we go live, whether together or separately. All right. Now, let me ask you this, Lise, as we're getting ready to wrap up. Do you have any final words of wisdom for the group here today?
It sounds like today there was a lot of talk about co-parenting, alienation, dealing with when you still have to deal with a narcissist. Minimize, disengage, need to know information only. Take the personal out of it, even though it stings. The more you can focus on yourself and less on them, the better you're going to feel, even though it's really hard. I mean, I was up middle of the night spinning my wheels about someone, and I was like, Lise, let it go, doing the same thing I'm telling you. It's not going to help. Disengage. But really, just picture yourself unhooking, because they're just trying to maintain supply of you. It's all they're trying to do.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's it. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, and Lise, did you say that you were, do you know your schedule over there for lives on the other channel that you go?
I have been trying to go once to twice a week live, and then otherwise posting videos. I don't have an actual schedule right now.
Do you know when the next time is?
Well, it was going to be right now. So it'll be probably not tomorrow, probably Thursday.
Okay.
And probably around this time of day. So,
all right.
Sorry, I have kids home from school, so and I don't have the schedule set because they literally just ended last week.
That's why we have 33222 Lise Live.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, everybody. We will see you next time. Lisa may or may not be back with me next week. Dana may or may not be. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'll be here probably.
And hopefully we'll be doing some Fridays soon.
Yes, we are working on a Friday thing too for the two of us. Yeah. So we'll see you. Probably Friday. All right. See you, Lise. Thank you so much for filling in.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. Okay. Ending.